All right, welcome to Dissent. This is our official second episode of the show. We do appreciate everybody tuning in. Last week was great. Our midweek update was great. Had several subscribers on YouTube this past week. A lot of new followers on Twitter. We do appreciate all of the support. Everyone sharing and getting the word out. Right now, we are waiting on Ali. He had a little hang up in traffic trying to get to his office, but he should be on here in just a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, if you haven't followed us on our actual Twitter page or Twitter handle, it is at Dissent Show. That's DISSENT Show. And then if you haven't followed Ali, it's at Ali once again. That's ALI. And then I am at Devin Wills, DEVON WILLS. There we go. That is my last name. So once again, we do appreciate all the followers, all the support, getting the word out. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. We do appreciate that. You can like our videos, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about the discussion. If you need clarification on anything, if you want us to discuss anything in particular, it'd be great to hear back from that. Also, regarding YouTube, you can also sign up for notifications. If you sign up for notifications, anytime we schedule a live stream, anytime we put up a new video, you'll be the first one to hear about it, to know about it, and you'll be on top of everything else. But while Ollie is trying to join us at the moment, you might be wondering why my face is incredibly red. Spent the day on the lake. My birthday is tomorrow, turning the good old 28. Super excited, I guess. But it's been a great weekend. I had a lot of friends come out to dinner last night, and then spent some time on the lake with some friends today. So it's been a phenomenal weekend. Blessed to have the friends I have, and still waiting on Ali. So I'm going to go ahead and log into our live stream on YouTube so we can carry on discussion there. If you have anything to share, or you have any questions, or want to tweet at the show, go ahead and use the hashtag Dissent. Once again, that's DISSENT. And we'll do our best to incorporate that into the show, to address your concerns, your questions, and try to involve you into the actual narrative, or the actual show as we move along. But give me one moment. And I do believe Ollie's already going to be periscoping this as well. I would say with the Periscope, if you can hop on YouTube and join the conversation there, that'd be great. Go ahead and subscribe. I think it looks like we're hit 17 subscribers. So I would say, as far as social media goes, having following in YouTube is one of the most difficult things outside of Twitter and Facebook. Ali, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Sorry I'm late between the flooding and the weather, and then my allergies are acting up because of the weather. I almost thought I wasn't going to make it, but here we are.
Definitely. I saw, that my mom's from Louisiana, and actually I saw a tweet, or not tweet, but a Facebook share that you and her shared the same post regarding the floods and how you're holding up down there.
It's kind of tough, and I want to welcome everybody tuning in via my Periscope, and then everybody who's tuning in via Twitter or Google or YouTube. Welcome to another week of this Dissent show. Forgive me if you see me blow my nose. I got the sniffles, but here in Baton Rouge, it's been really strange. Where I live usually floods during these storms, and what this is being described as is a historic storm. Over 7,000 people's lives have been saved thanks to the efforts of the National Guard and our government and friendly neighbors. I mean, everyone's got a boat and helping out where they can. But for whatever reason, it was Thursday night and Friday morning, my neighborhood was a little flooded. But then the real bad stuff was hitting, and everywhere else was flooded. So my neighborhood has been spared, my office has been spared, but most of my friends in Baton Rouge, the surrounding areas, Denham Springs, Central, Walker, Prairieville, their houses are underwater 2 to 4 feet apiece. And it's really tragic and it's really sad, and I can't even get out there to help most of them. Mallory is with her dad at a neighbor's house, and all of Zachary, you cannot get out except for by helicopter or by boat. So it's a helpless feeling. It's just honestly a helpless feeling.
Yeah, I definitely whenever I saw it. So Mallory's a good friend of yours. Who lives in near the Baton Rouge area, and I saw on her Snapchat storyline just it was like almost, you could call it like a time lapse. It was like every couple of hours there was a new update about how high the river had gotten.
Yeah.
And it was insane to see. There were like park benches in the water. That you were posting and stuff, and my mom.
Yeah, we're in the governor's mansion. I mean, the basement flooded at the governor's mansion.
Yeah, it's incredible. Even, the amount of water that Louisiana has taken, the amount of water that Texas has taken over the past year, it's insane. It's some of the craziest weather that I know that my parents have experienced in a long time. For the longest time, my dad couldn't mow the grass because it was pretty much, a half-inch of water or super soggy. But of course, Texas gets hot enough; it'll dry sooner or later. I have a feeling that the same thing will happen with Louisiana, and prayers and good vibes. I hate saying that, but prayers and good vibes to those who are in Louisiana. And I actually have family in Baton Rouge as well, so I know that they have a lot of close friends that are underwater at this point in time. I did see an actual video. It made me proud as a duck hunter. A guy was in his duck boat driving around helping people get out of their cars, and it was pretty funny because I'm like, hey, I got a boat very similar, But crazy weather down there, and definitely prayers for Louisiana.
And really, as when it does finally stop raining, and the water starts to clear through these gutters, it has nowhere else to go but the river, and then the river's already at crescent levels, so it's unfortunately might get a little worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I already went through the intro. You weren't here, but I thanked everybody for joining us. Thanked everybody for subscribing, following us on Twitter. Went through our actual Twitter handles and all of that. But once again, guys, we thank you very much. I know Ollie is very appreciative of everyone joining in, and I did try to I did mention if you're going to watch Ollie on Periscope, if you can still join into the conversation on YouTube, that'd be great. We have a couple people here and there that like to chime in and carry on conversations, and we do try to get to questions or input throughout the whole show. So, but as far as typically Ollie and I have a little bit of time to discuss kind of what we're going to touch on and the little things here and there. And I guess, this weekend has been pretty crazy with the birthday and pretty crazy with, just the weather in general.
Happy birthday, Devin.
Oh,
Happy
thank you.
Birthday to you.
Oh, goodness. Please don't go through the whole song. I've already heard it a couple times. And had a great dinner last night. They had chocolate chip cookies that were definitely awesome. And I had to explain why I was incredibly sunburned. And, little time on the lake, got to get the lake time in. It's something I haven't done since I lived in Texas. I've been to the lake more this month than I have in years, outside of duck hunting, of course. So, but so Ollie, so one thing that we did talk about is possibly doing like a little segment about what's kind of important or what's pertinent, regarding the week and news and just kind of how it plays into Dissent. And Ollie, anything this week just stand out to you in a way that you're like, we have to address this, we need change, we need to come together and fight this issue? Or
yeah, and I think we discussed a little bit of this during the midweek show that we tried out that segment on Wednesday. But Hillary Clinton has got to be the only nominee that's awesome. In my memory, who has disqualified herself to this degree. And I say that, admitting that I'm conservative and that might lead people to believe I have a partisan bias, but legitimately, when has anyone else had this many scandals? Legitimate
The T word? I thought you were going to say Tea Party.
The Tea Party. No, but Bill Clinton was paid $1.5 million in speaking fees for a Swiss banker that the State Department, then after he got paid, cleared for something. I mean, and then the emails prove that there was coordination between the foundation and her State Department office, where she said before she took the post that there would be no coordination, even though the Clinton Global Initiative and the Clinton Foundation had previous ties to the State Department. She, of her own fruition, said, no, now that I'm Secretary of State, that doesn't need to be that way. So, I mean, it's out and out corruption. It's out and out Banana Republic, South American feeling corruption. And it just shocks me that our press isn't hammering on this every day, because it's bigger than Watergate, to be frank.
Oh, I definitely agree on that. It's funny, you sent me that. Oh, by the way, what he said that was awesome. I was pointing at this. A friend of mine at work watched our podcast last week, and he's like, hey, if you're so much against Hillary, why don't you, put Stop Hillary on the sign? So I do appreciate that. Little shout out to Elliot. I appreciate the encouragement on that. Good idea. But so as far as the DOJ, you sent me a text, you sent me that link. And when I read it, I was just like, I mean, you couldn't see anything. I mean, there's nothing more blatant than that just spews corruption than this, than the Clintons, than the Obama DOJ going and saying, you know what, hands off, not worth our time. If it was anyone else, if it was Donald Trump, if it was Paul Ryan, if it was Ted Cruz, if it was anyone, I mean, if it was just some Joe Schmo on Wall Street, they would be going after him and investigating it. She's gotten away with so much. And earlier a video came up in my news feed. It was about SourceFed. It's a YouTube show. They did a video on Google and how whenever you put in Hillary CR. It actually brought up like Hillary criminal reform, and then they went back through to see if there was like trending graphs and stuff like that of how many times people had actually searched Hillary Clinton reform or Hillary criminal reform, and they couldn't there wasn't enough searches to create a graph,
because
Yeah, this is a video back from June 9th, and I find it so funny that when I'm going through stuff, more and more stuff is becoming like it's regurgitated. I'm seeing more and more stories that are coming back up that says, hey, remember this time Hillary had this going for? Remember this time when Hillary did this? And we're talking about how they keep talking about Trump, they hardly ever talk about Hillary, and I find it strange that there wasn't any more media attention given to Seth Rich, the DNC employee who was shot. I was reading up on it, and I found it bizarre that cops are saying it was an attempted robbery. They're investigating an attempted robbery. How do you attempt to rob someone, kill them, and then fail to take everything that's valuable off their person? I mean, that's just murder, you know. And what's more sickening about that is Hillary Clinton, you know, in a speech, you know, brings up all the violence. She's talking about Black Lives Matter and police and all this violence going on in the streets, and then she brings up, you know, Seth Rich, and you know, it's a sad story, but she brings up this young 27-year-old who was working to, you know, help with voter outreach and all this stuff, and then she turns this within 30 seconds, turns this into a weapons of war don't belong on the streets. So instead
She's ruthless. Hillary Clinton is ruthless.
you know, gun control, yeah, because that, I mean, without guns, how is she going to let her cronies, you know, take care of her business, in my opinion? But, you know, I find it very strange that, you know, time and time again, we've seen like 3 or 4 people just mysteriously die in the past month. And I hate jumping on conspiracy bandwagon, but it is strange and very, don't want to use the word questionable, but, you know, I don't understand how it's not more alarming to people that people who are literally supposed to give testimony or help with an investigation, or somebody who has spoken, you know, against the Clintons, you know, somehow mysteriously is dead, murdered, commits suicide, drops a barbell on his throat while working out, you know, and it's just, I don't get it.
Yeah, the deaths surrounding Hillary Clinton are very, very strange. And someone on Periscope asked what my Twitter account was. I'm at twitter.com/ALI, that's @Ali, and then my co-host Devin is Devin Wills on Twitter, and you can follow our show. And obviously my biological and hygienic implosion here happening between the burping and the sneezing and the allergies. But at Dissent Show on Twitter, so Dissent Show. And we want you, all of you guys who are on YouTube right now, Twitter, Periscope, we need you to subscribe on YouTube. YouTube, just search for Dissent Show or go to bit.ly.com/Dissent Show, all lowercase.
It's just bit.ly.
bit.ly/Dissent
Show, not .com.
Yeah, well, anyway, bit.ly/Dissent Show, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. But it's certainly strange. I think it's either 27 or 47 mysterious deaths surrounding the Clintons, and one must ask themselves. I don't have an opinion about these because, you know, for me, it's like, if I can't prove it, why talk about it?
Yeah.
But my opinion is this: if tyranny came to America, what would it look like? Because the media says, oh, the right wing is always concentrating on something that will never happen, or the forfeiture of our guns, or the rationing of our health care. You know, when people compare that to Nazi Germany, it might be a leap. But you do have to intellectually be curious enough to ask, if somebody was going to take over the system, or the system was going to fail systematically over generations, which would hand it over into negative hands, what would that look like? And then you have to ask yourself, well, if the Clintons were this evil power couple, what would it look like around them? What are the signs that we could get before we got the evidence or before we did any discovery? And I think it looks a lot like how the Clintons operate now, hiring crony hacks from the DNC that are rigging elections and rigging the narrative, having reporters offer to sit on their lap, literally. Bill Clinton's tarmac meeting with Attorney General Loretta Lynch, or his trip to the pedophile island with Epstein or whomever that donor was. I think the mysterious death surrounding the Clintons, I think it would look a lot like it looks now if we were to look at a real Frank Underwood and a real Claire Underwood, because Lord knows the Clintons aren't that attractive. But you know, it would look a lot something like this.
You're giving a lot to Kevin Spacey.
Hillbillies from Arkansas who rose to power, and a lot of mysterious stuff happens around them all the time, but they're the perpetual victims, thanks to the Clinton News Network.
Yeah, I do find it incredibly strange that nice CNN pun there. You know, with Vince Foster, that whole story. Granted, sometimes I wish I was older because paying attention in the early '90s, when I was like 6 years old,
Yeah.
whenever all this stuff went down, um, you know, I would have been on it. Like, I would have paid much more attention to what was happening than just, I don't even know what I was doing when I was 6. Kindergarten, playing some t-ball or something. But as far as Vince Foster, this man had won, Lawyer of the Year in Arkansas, was part of one of the best law firms in the country, best law firm in the state of Arkansas. Comes to the White House. He dies, from a gunshot wound. It was the highest rank. He was the highest ranking government official or government employee that had been shot and killed since JFK. We're looking at like a 30-year span here. And then all of a sudden, park police are investigating it, all these kind of things. And I hate jumping on the conspiracy bandwagon, like I said. And I hate, one thing that was very, disheartening with the earlier elections, 2008, 2012, with Obama is all these people, the birthers, the birth certificate conspiracy that Barack Obama is not a U.S. citizen, all that kind of stuff. And, it concerns me that we let ourselves be so overcome by this curious, just is he a citizen? How did he get over here? What do you do in Hawaii? What do you do over in Kenya? All these different things. We have to identify the issues that we want to push. We have to identify the issues that are going to make change and actually do something. Trying to pick on a birth certificate issue is not going to do anything. You know?
Well, I'll say this: 2 things. One, the birth certificate skerfuffle was invented by the Hillary Clinton campaign after she kept losing a bunch of primaries to Barack Obama. Particularly, she was pushing along the Appalachia and the Rust Belt and in the southern states. So this was a Clinton thing. And secondly,
but Trump ran with that. Trump
ran with it because he was a Democrat and a friend of the Clintons. And but certainly a fringe element of the right adopted the birther thing, and for me it was kind of irrelevant. It was like the dude's in office. We're not in a country where we're going to remove a president from office once majority thinks he's been elected or they had elected him. It's just not going to happen. We should have concentrated efforts in defeating a narrative, defeating the media. But secondly is, Robert Stacey McCain of theothermccain.com says, let the main thing be the main thing. And too often, we all chase on the right, we chase a rabbit hole, chase a rabbit down a hole, instead of letting the main thing be the main thing, and that is that Clinton is corrupt. If this becomes a referendum on Obama's 3rd term and Bill Clinton's 3rd term, ain't nobody want more of that. They were satisfied, generally speaking, against the alternatives that they had, vis-a-vis Bob Dole and Mitt Romney. The America selected the Democrats both times, but they do not want a repeat of all the scandals, all the mistakes, or the rise of ISIS. They just don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think her foreign policy, if she is elected, do you think she'll actually go after ISIS, or do you think it's one of those things where she'll continue the JV narrative? They're the JV team. It's not that they're not that big of a deal. Do you think?
I think that 2 things we'll see happen. I think that one, as we recently discovered, intelligence agencies were giving the administration bad information, I think at the instruction of the administration, frankly. So I think that Hillary Clinton has deeper tentacles into that community, but that community also doesn't like her. So I think that we'll see more bad intel come out, but I do think she'll run the war a little bit better, at least through rhetoric, better than Barack Obama, because she's a war hawk, she's an interventionist, and she's not disillusioned by this pseudo idealism that Barack Obama pretends to have while wholly not keeping. If you look at Gitmo, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, everything that he touted on the campaign, none of it has come true except for allowing Russia to steamroll smaller countries. So, I I don't know. I always say that her foreign policy and how she sees the world lines up with how I see the world, but she just is so poor when it comes to executing it that she'll mismanage it. And I guess that leaves us off with the worst world, which is why I'm slowly becoming a little less interventionist, because I don't think America's prepared to manage the messes that we're involving ourselves in.
Yeah, it definitely. You were talking about the mismanagement and all that. I was going to say, one of the things that has come up this past week, and I've seen more videos, more articles, her health continually keeps coming up. People talking about strokes, people talking about, her not being able to carry on long conversations or carry, her attention span is getting smaller. She's giving speeches and then she's stopping for, long pauses to find herself. Do you think this is actually problematic, something that actually should be, considered or something that should be looked into a little further? Or do you think this is,
She's 69 or 68 if she assumes office. I'm not sure if she'll be older than Reagan or she'll be the second oldest president to swear into office. So, I would love to see the same microscope on age that was applied to John McCain in 2008 applied to Hillary Clinton. And while a lot of the attacks against John McCain were not fair and they were very bigoted, there are legitimate questions for Hillary Clinton, who has endured as much stress and tragedy as she has, the concussion that she had a couple of years ago that caused her to be late to testifying for Benghazi, and frankly, her behavior on the trail seems like there's something bizarre going on. I think she's ill. And I think that we live in an age where doctors are willing to fudge and make ridiculous documents for people running for office or for the office of president. So I would love to see her. I think that she owes it to the American people to disclose her true mental and readiness and her physical health. I think she owes that to us, the people that she wants to govern.
Yeah, I feel like her longevity throughout this whole process will be questionable. I think even if she does become president, that we'll see within the first year if she can truly handle the stresses. The things that are going on right now, it reminds me of like the '60s. I mean, you see Black Lives Matter, you see police brutality, you saw Milwaukee's got some issues going on right now with the police, and there's all sorts of stuff. The narrative that we see and just kind of the climate of our country is pretty chaotic. And I think once she takes over, she'll be able to see, fully what's happening both here in the country and then also, concerning ISIS, concerning Russia, concerning, the things that are happening over in the Middle East. I think that, it'll definitely take a toll. I do find it very, I hate saying questionable, but Barack Obama was incredibly young, has a lot of charisma, just very well spoken. Had, like I said,
Obama's going to be here for the next 40 or 50 years. I hope people realize that he'll be around for the next 40 or 50 years, commenting on policy.
Yeah, and when you look at him, he has that. I don't want to say spunk, but he does. Like he can tell the jokes. He can tell off people. He can tell off the press. Oh, this is my house. Keep your mouth shut, kind of thing. And I don't see that coming from Hillary. I don't understand how the Democrats can go from somebody so young, somebody so loved in that celebrity limelight, to Hillary Clinton, who's she's
the old grandma.
She's the old Democrat. She's 90s failed policy after failed policy. The things that Bill turned over to her didn't work out. And it's just weird, strange. John McCain got thrashed for how old he was, and I feel like now we have two old people running. Yeah. One, a billionaire that speaks off the cuff, says whatever he wants, and then secondly, someone who's been surrounded by scandal after dead person, mysterious dead person after mysterious dead person. It's.
I will say this though, Donald Trump has some serious spunk for a 70 or 71-year-old. I mean, he's got the energy of the average 40-something-year-old or 50-something-year-old. I mean, I've never seen him tired.
Yeah.
I've seen him break out in a sweat, but that's it.
Yeah, I will say when it came to like the debates, the Republican debates, I mean, he was on the questions. I mean, his kind of witty remarks and the things that he was saying. I mean, he was on the forefront of what was happening every time somebody would take a jab at him. Whereas you look at Ben Carson looked like he was asleep half the time.
Yeah.
They'd ask him a question, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, oh I can answer that." Like, were you here for the past 45 seconds? And you got Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Their repetition, over and over again. They'll just say the same thing. Well, this is what if I become president, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. If I become president, X, Y, and Z is going to happen.
Can you hear me dying over here?
God bless you. Times 3.
Yeah.
So how about the Olympics, though? I mean, a little lighter note. The U.S. is owning. I haven't watched any of the track stuff.
Oh, I did last night. It was beautiful.
Well, I watched the last relay, Michael Phelps' last race. That was amazing. I thought it was awesome to see. If it's strange, we have all these older people. We have all these older people who are winning gold medals and doing these great things, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to retire. This is my last Olympics." I'm like, I know you're going out on top, but what's the statistic here that says in the next 4 years you're not going to be just as good? I don't know.
A lot of it's training. They don't want to spend 4 years of their life doing the training regimen again, and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, you're right. It is an interesting mentality that we got to go out on top, and I guess they got to worry about their commercial retention and stuff like that, and but I have been very proud of America on the world stage during Rio, which sounds like it's on the 6th layer of hell between Zika and bodies washing up and couches inside of at the bottom of some of these sea level tournaments, and Ryan Lochte recently was held up at gunpoint. They stole him and his teammates' medals and all their wallets and stuff like that last night, I believe.
Yeah, so, I saw a headline on my Google app that said that happened.
Yeah, Trevor was telling me about that. But but it was fake cops that held them up, and but anyway, I've been proud
Rio.
of
Can you really say that they're fake cops?
Yeah.
I mean,
who knows? They may have been real cops.
Yeah, it's go ahead.
Yes, I was going to say is it's worth pointing out that America does not have a ministry or a department dedicated to sports, and our athletes still, through private money and some government assistance, but little, through sponsorships and parents who dedicate and families who dedicate a lot of resources to developing these great athletes and having a country where innovation and capitalism and free enterprise reign. We've got the best athletes in the world, and we don't have to cheat like China with putting in children in gymnastics, and we don't have to cheat like Russia by doping our teams. So, God bless America and nobody else.
I will say it's embarrassing and sad. The Chinese gymnast who was like 13 or 14 years old, you have to be 16 in order to compete. She still won. It's just it's sad that they cheated, but it's also embarrassing to be like, yeah, a child beat me. Like, I don't know if I would be able to.
Well, they're more labor in gymnastics. They're more apt to whatever.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah. I will say say capitalism does contribute quite a bit to the success of our athletes. Just look at Michael Phelps, for instance. Before his whole bong incident, all that kind of stuff, he was sponsored by Subway. He was sponsored, I do, by Sony, by Nike. These headphones that everybody's wearing in. I think right now they might be Beats this year, but I remember 4 years ago. Michael Phelps walked in, and he had some sweet Sony headphones, and his perfect product placement. Whenever they're walking around, it's like a torso shot, and the headphones, big O Sony logo, and you're like, I want those headphones. Well, if they're good enough for, a 28 medal winner in the Olympics, then they're definitely good enough for me, right? But it's incredible. 28 medals, 23 gold, set the world record, and I did make mention in the midweek update. It was like 1,000-year-old record. It was like nearly 2,200-year-old record, and it's funny. All these ESPN articles talking about who is Saint Leonidas or whatever the guy's name was. And they're trying to get into who was this great Olympian? I mean, what did they do 2,200 years ago?
Throw disc or something, I don't know. Run around naked.
Throw rocks around, race around the vineyards of, Italy.
Yeah. Talk about, oh my God, we killed the Jesus guy.
He's like,
can we rewind?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it should be an interesting week ahead.
Should it?
I don't know. Every week is pretty surprising between Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and Julian Assange.
Yeah. Julian Assange has, talked about all the things he's going to release. Do you think that Seth Rich actually is the reason?
I don't know.
You're like, I don't want to get into this conspiracy talk.
Yeah, I do think it's strange. Where he was in D.C. isn't a good area.
He lived there for 2 years, though.
Yeah. To not be robbed is strange. And to be shot, it sounds like one shot, the back of the head or the front of the head, is also strange. And anybody who studies like where there are gunshots on a victim, especially a single shot, will know that usually it's a bullet to the front of the head is an assassin's shot. And they say that not just because professional assassins do it, but someone who wants to get the job done and get out and continue their life will shoot someone there. It's not bam, bam, bam in the chest or anything like that. They need to leave no evidence because generally the person knows their life's in danger or they know the killer. So it's really interesting that you shot in the back of the head because that also suggests execution style from somebody who told them to turn around. Or I don't know, but I don't know. One of our Periscope commenters says that they have a topic for us. They got to hurry up and do it because we're wrapping up the show because all these allergies are wagging out. So, commenter, if you want to write the topic and if it's worthy, I'll throw it to Devin real quick and we'll talk about it. But so glad so many of you guys are tuning up on Google, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. This show's only going to get better. I hope you all have noticed some of the production value has increased. It will only keep getting better. This will eventually not be streamed the way it's streamed on, but I can't wait to introduce you guys to our interviews, advertisers, some of the merch that we're going to be promoting on the show. We've come up with some key phrases with some of you guys in the audience. What was our phrase last week, Devin? I think it was stay vigilant, be paranoid. Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to get that on the shirt. That's going to be awesome.
Stay vigilant, be paranoid, and dissent. We have people asking us if we want to talk about the Milwaukee incident. Honestly,
I don't know enough about Milwaukee. It sounds like a tragic case, a bad case. I believe every guilty person deserves due process rights. If you hate the Constitution, bug off.
You're on the wrong show.
You're on the wrong show. But it also does sound like this guy was a thug. The two things can be true. Okay, well, this person, I don't know, their comment disappeared too fast. So anyway, we're not going to visit that. But Milwaukee, maybe we'll discuss it next week or midweek. Sounds like a good time because we'll have more facts.
We'll have more facts, and hopefully your nose will stop running.
Yeah.
Speaking of running, apparently Usain Bolt won the 100-meter relay, or not relay, but 100-meter dash tonight. And then Gatlin won second place. So, hey, we at least medaled. Then again, we didn't beat Usain Bolt, which is... Anybody else feel cheated that he didn't fully run through the 100-meter when he pulled up? When was that, 2008?
I don't remember.
Yeah, 2008. He was winning. He was crushing it. He set a world record. However, he pulled up like 8 or 9 meters before the finish line and just kind of strided right on through. Felt he cheated.
Fastest man in the world.
He is the fastest man in the world.
Yeah.
But the record could have been even crushed even further if he wouldn't have pulled up. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That man's got a lot to offer the world for the next year. The years coming. It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, to get back to what we were talking about with Seth Rich and all of that. Yeah, the Julian Assange, seems to that whole WikiLeaks, when he made the announcement, like October, all these things would come out. There's a lot of speculation that something about Seth Rich is going to come out as well. I know this is all hypothetical. Still want your opinion. If this is a huge if Seth Rich is mentioned by WikiLeaks, and it says Seth Rich, leaked these emails to us. He didn't want us to say anything until now, or something like that. If that comes out, what is the likelihood the government will take this serious and investigate his actual murder further, like further into the actual campaign, further into Clinton ties? And what is the likelihood the media will even take this seriously?
I think at a 0, and I think even if they came out and said that, it would be met with great skepticism anyway. I mean, we shouldn't be taking tips. I don't know. This person is commenting on my Periscope, and I have no idea what they're talking about. They're just putting a bunch of vague comments up. Which I'll eventually block if it just keeps getting annoying. I have no idea what they're talking about. Bad debt does not exist. I mean, just stop with your commentary. Get your own show. One, we shouldn't be taking law enforcement tips or, advice or direction from WikiLeaks. Julian Assange is not a great actor. He's not. But I do think that we gotta trust the local PD, and they're investigating, or whomever's investigating, and if that leads to ties to whatever, then it'll lead to ties to whatever. But to prove a conspiracy element is a heavy burden, and I'm sure nobody coordinated via email on DNC servers on how to kill Seth Rich.
No.
So
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting. And $20,000 isn't a lot of money to turn in somebody. So whatever.
Everybody's still being vague on your Periscope?
This one person, I have no idea who they freaking are, and they're saying some really bizarre things. I have no idea what they're talking about. It's really vague.
Oh, interesting.
But that was this week's show.
That was this week's show.
That was this week's show. That's how we should. No. So midweek. I like the midweek segment.
Yeah, for kind of spur of the moment and just randomly saying, hey, we probably should do this. I mean, it turned out well. I mean, the interaction at the very end, I felt we were kind of hamming it up, trying to get everybody to subscribe and follow. If you haven't subscribed, once again, kind of 3/4 of the way through the show, update bit.ly/Dissent show. Check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, like the videos, comment if you have any questions. If you have anything, if you want to question what we're talking about, if you want further explanation, we're more than happy to respond and get back to everybody that we can. If you follow on,
we give shout outs to people who follow us on YouTube and tweet it at the show. We do retweets.
Exactly. This is very true. So if you have followed us or subscribed to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and you want to go ahead and retweet that or tweet it out, use #Dissent, mention us at Dissent Show. We will retweet that. We will mention you. We are trying to grow this significantly. Trying to reach people, trying to reach across the aisle and come together on things that we can agree on, different things, different platforms, different issues that we can take and say, hey, we are all tired of this. We are all tired of corruption. We're all tired of the government abusing the middle class, abusing the lower class, abusing, the citizens, because we're not part of the 1%, we're not part of the elite, because we're not part of the federal government. It's anything from them mistreating, or not just, it's just blatant, they don't even care about our opinions. It goes from that to stepping on state sovereignty, to doing anything that they can to take over our country even further, increase the size of government, increase regulation, increase, government ownership of any industry. And, we want to grow this. We want to find like-minded individuals, but as well as we want to reach out to as many people as possible in order to bring them into this and to grow. We want to know people's opinions. We want to share those opinions. We want people to be able to free think on their own and draw their own conclusions in a way that we hope would be logical. We'd hope that it would draw them to a conclusion that would push them forward to action, and to not just take everything the status quo as it is. Not to take the government's word for it because they said it. The first thing wrong with that is just trusting that what your government is saying is accurate and true and is in your best interest, because that's not always the case. But hopefully at the midweek show this week you won't be sick, because
I'm just dying over here.
Do you have at least some nice Kleenex with some lotion or something?
Yeah, I'm on my last two. I'm 2 seconds away from grabbing some more.
I got you. Yeah, we do apologize. This week is very kind of sporadic. We knew we wanted to talk about Hillary. We knew we wanted to talk about how the media has blatantly ignored the chaos in which has surrounded her this entire election. And even now, you look at Google, you look at all these different things, and you see things. I use Google as my news at this point in time, which is very ignorant of me. But if I ever want to read up on just some random posts, which on occasion they have Breitbart, they'll have Washington Post, they'll have Huffington Post, they'll have TMZ. You name it. It'll just random things will pop up. But whenever I want to read up on what's happening in society, the pop culture side of things, I use Google, and there's not much going on. I didn't hear a whole lot out of Trump after his whole Second Amendment comment. Didn't hear much more about Mr. Mateen being at Hillary's rally. I think I saw Dana Lash say a couple things regarding it, and it is bizarre that he showed up, and it is bizarre that he even participated in the way he did, being up there on stage in front of the press. But if you have any insight on that, if you have any questions or comments, if you go to our midweek show, we did discuss the actual attendance of Omar Mateen's dad at the Clinton rally down near Orlando. He's up on stage, very visible, and we point out the debacle in which is the campaign, the people who are handling the event, coordinating the people that they selected, and go watch it. Actually comment if you have questions or if you have any input, and we will try to join the conversation there, and see what happens. But Ollie, anything else that you want to talk about?
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, bit.ly/Dissent Show, and we cannot wait till the end of August or early September to roll out our platform, and it's going to be really awesome, y'all.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll have T-shirts, new stuff coming out, blog coming out, and we'll actually go ahead and set up the midweek show in YouTube, so you will have a notification and know when it's going to happen. It'll be 9 p.m. Eastern time, like it was this past week. And if you have any questions beforehand, feel free to tweet at us. Use the hashtag Dissent, or actually tweet at Dissent Show, and we'll try to address those questions, address those topics, and go from there. But we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, Ali won't be dealing with weather or sickness and all that. And y'all have a great week. See you Wednesday.